And when was the first time you realized you could do this at a level that was elite, Brian?
Honestly, I think just, playing at Alabama, and, playing with a lot of guys that, eventually go off into the league. Like, year by year, you have guys who, go out to the draft. Some get drafted very high, some get drafted, whenever. And, they go out and they have the success at the next level. And you think about, how much y'all polished each other up and, made each other better during school. And you just, just also help you build confidence, seeing those guys on TV making plays and performing at that next level, before you kind of step up into that level. And, once I got here, I see a lot of familiar faces, guys I played against while I was in college, that's, also been having success in this league. So, I just got to continue to compete, at the same level that I competed, before I got here, and I would be able to have success at this level.
So you're from Tuscaloosa, correct? That's where you're from?
Sir.
Did Auburn ever have the temerity to knock on your door and say, come here, Brian?
They did. They did try to recruit me, but that was a very boring recruiting process.
Oh.
I didn't really give it any attention. I didn't show them like any mind, during that whole process. Like I knew that wasn't the school that I was going to, go to.
Why?
Just growing up in Tuscaloosa, I always been like, diehard Alabama fan. I always knew if I had an opportunity to play under Saban or play for the Tide, that's what it was going to be. And with Auburn being the biggest rival that it always been to Alabama, I just didn't see that happening for myself just because I didn't feel like, I would be happy and comfortable in Auburn. I probably would have went somewhere else outside of, the state of Alabama if it came down to it.
But it didn't come down to that, right? It didn't?
No.
Okay. Saban showed up in your living room, Brian?
He definitely showed up. He showed up.
Oh, what was it like having him there? Walk me through that.
It was great. Saban, he showed a lot of interest in me over those years, recruiting from like, the end of my freshman or mid-sophomore year all the way up until I signed. He came and he visited home. He came and he visited school. He called me down to campus numerous times just to see my face, to have me around. And, that was more than enough for, what I need. I didn't even need that much because I was just so excited to have the opportunity. So with him going out his way to, show that he was, interested in me, that was icing on the cake.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the question I have asked literally every Alabama Crimson Tide player I have interviewed on this program that has played for Nick Saban. I've asked this of Tua, Mac Jones, Will Anderson. I can go right down the list, and now I'm going to ask it of you, Brian Robinson Jr., the angriest, the most upset you've ever had Nick Saban with you and at you is what? Tell me that story.
Saban had to discipline me a couple times over the years. I wasn't perfect. I probably upset him the most when the vaccine came out. I had made comments about it, and he didn't like it because he thought I was influencing the locker room. And he gave me an earful as soon as I walked out on the practice field. So
what about on the field? On the field, any moment that you ever made him upset, Brian?
I mean, it don't take much. It don't take much, kind of get under his skin and upset him. I think probably the most upset I did make him was in a playoff game. My sophomore year, it was in a playoff game versus Oklahoma. We was playing them in Miami. And me and Josh Jacobs was back deep to return, and they had kind of kicked a high kick that was to my side. And I had like put my hand up as if I was going to receive it without like saying fair catch.
Yes.
But they called it fair catch. They called it a fair catch. So like we didn't get the return, which was set up to be like almost a 80-some yard kick return to the house. So we didn't get that return off. And like he gave me an earful because, I guess he was just like, that wasn't the best communication. We left points out on the field, it was just a time in the game where we needed a spark. And I feel like with me calling that fair catch and not being able to get that kick return going, he was very upset about that at the time.
Okay. So that means you were never the recipient of a D's nuts joke from him, Brian?
Oh, that's something that's just kind of common in practice. Like he sometimes he's in a good mood and he's in a joking mood and he'll crack a joke or two. And when he crack a joke, you better laugh. He expect you to laugh. He expect you to laugh.
Like, is that right?
Yeah. Like
so he gets He gets upset when he's joking and you don't laugh at his material? Is that what you're saying?
You could tell by his body demeanor that, like, that was a joke. You're supposed to laugh.
I love it. It's kind of like a stand-up comedian or a comedian. Like, it's my material. You should laugh. I mean, I just love hearing stories about him and what's going on at Alabama. And obviously, there's a big game against Ole Miss this weekend. And I appreciate you sharing those stories. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.